This is the best mail day on this channel by far. Join me now to go through some of the cards I've been buying in hopes to rot a grade, but either way, resell for a profit. I'll be going through the cards that I've been buying, what my intent with them is, and at the end I'll show you a breakdown of the cards that made the cut to send for grading and other ones that just didn't make the cut and will need to be sold by other means. Let's get into it. Hey, how's it going, YouTube? It's Ian with Good Form Sports Cards back with another video. Today we have another mail day, but this one's different. I'm going to show you the items that I've been buying, but along with that, I'll be sharing 2 helpful tips in regards to how I buy in all seasons. And these tips are going to be unique to anything that I've seen on YouTube, so stay tuned. As I stated, there's a couple of tips I'll be sharing, and they're going to be kind of partitioned off. These are one type of pickup, and these are another type of pickup. I say they're unique in the way that I approach them. Now, there's people that are certainly buying these sorts of cards, but it's the way in which I'm going about it that I believe is unique. It's not like anything I've seen on YouTube at all to this point, and I'll explain why as I go. So here, just gonna jump right to it here. Nice, feels like they're all top loaded. So I have a lot that I bought off of eBay. And this is certainly not the unique part. People have been doing that for 20 years. So you can see here we've got, at least, I mean, they made it. He packed them nice. So I've got a card lot of Michael Jordan. Again, not unique. But what's unique about it is my approach in regards to what I'm going to do with them. So first of all, when I buy a lot of Michael Jordan in particular, I try to keep my price point per card around $1.50 or less, and that's all in. So if the shipping, for the lot is $7, you got to factor that in and do the math and make sure that you're getting in at a good price point. That would be the first advice for anybody. You can hear it in any sort of business model is you make your money when you buy. You want to get in at a good price. You don't want to bank in, paying a very competitive price now and then hoping that something in the market is going to change. You definitely do not want to bank on that. You want to make sure that you have value in your cards immediately when they show up at your door. That does take a lot of patience. It takes a lot of scouring the internet and just waiting for the right deal to be at the price point you want. Here we've got a lot of Jordan cards. My intent with these, and this is where I believe it's unique, is that grading Jordan cards is not unique. People have been doing this forever, but I like to buy one lot and have a vision of what I'm going to do with that. Now, I could simply just put these all up listed individually on eBay or send them to COMC. I probably wouldn't send them to COMC given the price point, but I could put them on eBay and make money over time, and they would sell quick. Jordans are very liquid. They would move very quick. And that's not a bad idea. I've seen that strategy before. I like to combine this with raw to grade, which, again, people do that. But where this is unique is I'm looking to basically, if I get one card out of here that I can send to PSA for a 10, that funds the entire project. And the rest of it is pure profit. If you get 2, 3, 4 that you can grade, all the better. The problem is you have to be very, very stringent in your card grading. You can't send something that's going to get a 9 or even less, or you're going to just be burning money, essentially. You have to be sending in something that you're fairly confident you're going to get a 10 in, or a card that maybe it's not completely low end. Maybe it's a decent upper deck card or an older hoops or skybox card that even in a 9 can make you a little money. So that's my approach here. Is I like to buy a lot set. For the most part, look like they've got a few pretty good cards in there. See, even these low-end ones, if you get a 10 in one of these, it's pretty much $60. So I got a couple of lots, and these are so you can see some of these aren't great. Like this is going to have a little whitening down there. It's not going to be one that you can grade, but you can definitely sell it. And this is going to be a great approach, especially for beginners, if you don't have a lot of money to play with, because Jordan is, term we always hear is he's very liquid, but he is. Like his cards move very quickly. There's a high desire for them. So if you're just starting out, this is a really good strategy to try because you can dip your toes in the water with grading without it costing you a lot of money potentially. And grading can be an expensive lesson. It's something you definitely need to hone your craft on, but it's something where it's not going to tie your money up for a long time. Like, there's a lot of good buys out there you can make, but you could say, well, maybe you get a great insert from these same years, but it's Clyde Drexler. Great player, nothing against him, but his cards move substantially slower than Jordan. Jordan, priced competitively, moves quick, especially if you have an eBay store, or even if you're just using your free 250 listings a month. If you put a handful of Jordans out there and someone wants to get a bulk deal, combined shipping is great. And it's great for you too, because obviously you can take care of multiple problems, so to speak, at one, as you're getting rid of a lot of inventory. And combined shipping is good for both parties. Obviously the buyer saves, and as a seller, you save on materials and just the headache of doing a million little packages and transactions on small cards. So you can see this is a lot of low end, and that's okay. That's essentially what I was looking for. I was well aware of it. I'm really just looking for 1 to 2 gems out of here, and that's the strategy, is getting one card to fund them all. So sort of a Lord of the Rings approach, right? So it's something that, why I say it's unique is you could rely entirely on this and just do it all seasons, all the time. You don't have to worry about like, oh, NFL's down right now, I'm going to buy now and I'm going to sell later. You can certainly do that, and I would recommend doing that. I'd recommend diversifying. But again, if you're just starting out, you have limited funds, maybe your father, son, mother, daughter, combination of any of that, and you just want to dip your toes in the water and just kind of learn the hobby without getting burned right away, this is probably one of your most safest ways to go about it. Would be Michael Jordan, especially low end, lot, stuff like that. Again, he moves very, very quickly, and there's a lot of flexibility in the ways that you can approach this. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing and sell them off individually. You could take the cards that you want to grade, deal with those, and then take whatever's left out of everything else, make another lot, sell it at the price point that you were in for it for. Is, let's say you were averaging $150 per card, and you just say, I'm fine getting my money back on those, and I'll just profit on the graded ones. You could do that. It just gives you a lot of flexibility, and it's so low risk. I mean, you're never going to take a 0 on a Jordan card. I can't even think of a scenario where you would, unless like you somehow got unlucky to get stuck with like a counterfeit card that got decertified or something. But that would be about the only scenario I would see Jordan being losing scenario, would be if you just got stuck with a counterfeit. But so this is going to be along the exact same approach. And this is where, before I go through these and move on to the second, I guess you'd say, approach and buying tip, would be whatever you buy, especially even if it's these Jordans, even if you're going to 100% emulate what I'm doing, go in with a plan. Make sure you know, when these cards show up, what am I going to do with this? You don't want to just go out and like aimlessly buy and hope that you could do goofy stuff. Like I see a lot of times on, like, especially grading reveal videos, where someone will say, oh, I'm into this card for $8 raw, and I spent $20 to grade it. So I'm into it for, $28. Estimated value is $40. So they're listing it on the video as a $12 profit. And unless you're directly trading that for something, or you're doing an Instagram deal or a card show deal, or it's a cash, or you're not paying any fees, you're not making $12 on that. You have to think about those sort of things. So if you're buying a Jordan with the intent to list it at $1.50 or $2, and right away, if you sell it on eBay, it's 13.25% off of $2, so it's roughly 27 cents. You're going to get tax plus the final value fee, which on that amount is like 30 cents. So it's not like crazy money, but if you're in it, had a $2 card, and then you're chopping out, another 50, 60 cents or however much it comes to, there's not a lot left for you. And if your price point was $150, and then in that scenario, even at $2, you're making less than $150, so you are losing money. You have to think about those sort of things and make sure that your price point makes sense for what you're doing, and that you're set up for success. So just think about those little things. Remember the hidden fees. Grading reveals are great, but I always question when I see someone spending $8 to grade a card that gets a 10, and the estimated value is $40. I'm thinking, either you bought in at a really bad price, or if that's truly the raw price, you really shouldn't be grading those cards. But that would just be my friendly advice. There could be people that love living and preying on getting 10s and having 10-15% margin. I wouldn't recommend it. But so here's the same thing, Jordan lot, and I actually like that these are all top loaded. I'm kind of impressed for like all these low end cards being well kept like this. You never know how what you're gonna receive, but I think these had, you know, $6-7 shipping fees on the lots, and it's very justified when you're shipping like this. You know, I really commend sellers that do a good job and make sure that the cards are in good shape when you get them. So here we've got some Jordans with these facsimile autos. Those are kind of nice. People a lot of times like these, especially if you get a couple gradable to where they can start up like a set. I have a few of these already in 10 sitting in my store, so these grade pretty easily. So do these. So these are super low in Jordan. These are a lot of his tribute type sets, and that's okay. People love them, and I would say the last tip of in regards to having a plan with what you're doing when you buy cards is if you're planning on raw to grade or just flipping raw or flipping, maybe you're just buying slabs and flipping them. If you're doing that and making money, still awesome. That's pretty tough to do right now. But when you're doing those things, what you want to think about is who's your customer? Who are you adding value to or to their process, right? Why are they going to come to you and buy? Or if somebody comes to your store, what are you gonna provide to them that the other hundreds and thousands and whatever people aren't providing? So for starters, what I like to do first is basically be really good at what's free. There's a lot of sellers out there that are either poor communicators, maybe they're not the nicest to deal with, kind of snarky sometimes, especially if they're very educated on what they're doing or something seems very obvious about their listing, but you have a question. Shipping quickly, packaging quickly, making sure like, you know, somebody's buying a card that for whatever reason is meaningful to them. If they're buying raw to grade, they're concerned that condition from the time of how it looks in your listing until they get it, they want that to obviously make it to them safely. They don't want that condition to be compromised along the way in transit. Or it's somebody that's looking to buy it for collection, and same reason they want that card in their collection in a good condition. When you package something nicely, a couple of these sellers did, you just, you know, really appreciate when you get it. And the thought that just that little extra thought they put in, it's free, it's not required, they don't have to do it. And if you're good at all those small things, that's going to be some value you'll add to your customer. But ultimately, you want your product, I should say, to appeal to your customer. Those are the things you want to think of when you're buying. So like Jordan, I have a very, very distinct approach of what I'm doing. I know that he has a big fan base and those cards will move quick, and I know what I want to do with them. So an example of where you could do a really good buy that may not work out the same way was the example I used before, and I don't want to pick on the guy. I like him a lot, but Clyde Drexler I mentioned before. Much smaller fan base and following. Doesn't quite have the, you know, documentaries and brands and all these different associations that keep him relevant today. So if you get, instead of me buying this, and I put, let's say $100 into a nice raw Clyde Drexler card, gets graded and comes back, it's a good grade 9 or 10, it's very rare, maybe a pop 1. You need that card to get in front of a very specific customer base in order to sell it. Not everybody's going to look for it. Not everybody's nostalgic for it. You need a very specific collector looking for a higher end card. And that's a lot harder to sell that card, especially if you're going to try to go to auction and sell quick. You almost certainly won't get what you want for it because there's just not going to be a lot of people competing. So that's going to be something you would have to put out at a buy it now and most likely negotiate. Those people that are shopping for those players, unless you have just an unbelievable card, will message you and say, hey, will you take less? And you almost certainly will, because if you don't, you lose most likely that collector, and that's one of those small pool of eyes that you need to take that card off of you. So think about those sort of things when you're making moves with the intent to sell. Is who are you going to appeal to, and how are you going to give them something that is on par better than what the others are giving them. So I would first say be good at what's free, all the things that you can do as a human being to be decent and kind of set yourself at the top. Like, nobody can beat you. They can only match you. And then provide cards that have multiple avenues for appealing to collectors. So here, somebody could be looking for value lots. They would be able to get those from me. They could be looking for just one Jordan. Maybe they're collecting on a budget and they just want to have a couple Jordans in their collection, but they don't want to go out and spend hundreds and thousands and in some cases more to get them. So you're going to appeal to those collectors. You may have set builders that are looking to fill up some of their sets here. And then, of course, if you get a couple of graded ones, you have the people that want a PSA 10 Jordan, but they can't afford even a mid-range one. A $60 one's about as low as you're going to get unless you snipe an auction somewhere. But putting that out there for those type of collectors that just want to go into eBay, they don't want to spend a lot of time. They're just going to filter their search and go, what's the price plus shipping combined? They're going to hit that buy it now, and they're just going to want that card that they want and move on with their day. They're not going to want to put in the time that some of us put in, hunting for deals, going raw to grade. They've got, other things they want to do with their time. So that would be, some advice there, especially for tip number 1. Tip number 2, and you might already see the logo in here, is COMC auctions. Now, there's a ton of content out there of people that like to buy, sell, flip cards on COMC, but I will tell you, I don't see a lot of content on the COMC auctions, and they are a great opportunity to pick up some cards. And there's a couple ways you can go about it, which I'll share here. And this is where tip number 2 comes in, is the COMC auctions run every day. No, I'm on Central Time, and their auctions start at about 6 p.m. and end at 11 p.m. every night. So you could either stay up every night or get up early and go through that day's auctions. And I would suggest, if you're not already using it, to use some sort of app to bid for you. I use Bidnapper. I know there's Easy Sniper, which is exactly the same thing. Something like that, where you just load up everything you want to bid on in the morning and come back and pay in the evening. Now, for COMC, I do this actually 3 days at a time. So I'll sit there for several hours, go through 3 days worth of auctions, and come back basically it'll be right at the 2-day mark. So whatever I win, hypothetically, let's say Monday night, you have all those auctions for those 5 hours. Then you have Tuesday night and Wednesday night ending at 11, and I'll pay at 11. So basically you're at just over 2 days for all that. But where it works is you get combined shipping that, at least as of now when I record this video, caps at $14.99. So the more stuff you buy, the more you knock down your shipping. And they actually ship pretty quick. So I know you're probably thinking, I've had shipments from COMC, those take months. They do, if it's from your vault. From their eBay auctions, they're actually very quick, literally a couple of days. So this is a nice little, I don't know if you'll call it a hack, but something that I like to do steadily to keep cards coming in for inventory. And this works in all seasons. You don't have to buy football at its peak in the auctions. You can just work past those, and I would recommend doing that. It does take some time unless you really, really know your cards in the market. Sometimes I'll see a card out there that I'm interested in, but I just don't know what it's going for right now. I know it'll grade well and sell well and those sort of things, but I don't know the right price point. So you do have to comp a lot of cards. I would suggest having a couple windows open, look at eBay sold listings, and then make your best educated guess on what you want to pay. I lowball a ton of auctions. I'm telling you, I probably, in that 3-day window of each time I bid, I'm probably bidding on 300 plus items, and I probably win 20 to 25. You can see this is like a 3-day batch right here. It's not a crazy amount of cards. And I do that with purpose. There's a lot of cards I miss out on, and that's okay. Like I said earlier, you make money when you buy. So if there's a Bryce Harper rookie, for instance, the Topps paper, I know just from seeing it all the time, usually goes for $18, is right around where it goes, sometimes a little lower, but I'd say starting at 18, getting into the lower 20s. I will bid probably like $15.50 on that card. So I'm already lower than what the comps usually are. Every now and then I'll pick one up, but not very often. I've bid on a ton of those, and I think I've won like 3. So that goes to tell you right there, you're not just going to pick up every single one you bid on, and you have to be okay with that. You have to know that if you're winning a high percentage of your auctions, you're overpaying. So just keep that in mind. That's the best advice I can give you there. But why this is also good is you can link your eBay to your COMC account, and you can also pay for these with your COMC credit. Now, when you do that, it goes to your COMC vault, but you could do a combination of things. So I'll bid on all kinds of stuff with the intent of either raw to grade coming home, or, you know, if it doesn't grade well, I can sell it on eBay, and because I bid 15-20% below where the low comps are, if I can't grade it, I can then list it for what the low comps are. eBay's gonna take their 13%, and I have a little bit of profit in there. So that's really the winning formula. And this is something I don't hear many people talk about. They talk a lot about COMC, but not about the auctions and the integration with eBay. So if I bid on 20 items and I want to send 15 home and I pay that $15 shipping, those other 5 I can pay for with COMC credit, leave it in the vault. If I think I can just pick off a card for $1 perhaps that I just want to reprice in COMC at $4, you could do those sorts of plays too. So it's nice that you can just go at it with a myriad of angles, and as you win your auctions, you can go look at your COMC dashboard, pay for what you want there, whatever's left you can pay for on eBay, have that shipped home to you. If you have a crazy amount of credits, you can pay for everything at COMC and then just do a shipment from there. The only negative to that is that COMC ships their eBay orders in days. They ship their vault shipments in months. So as funny as it is, I scheduled a shipment from COMC, I believe it was January 28th, and I'm just, I used up my COMC credit to fund those cards. And now I'm buying these off of eBay, and I'm getting these cards back before I even had an update on my shipment. So I think the shipment still has a couple 100,000 items in front of it. Anyway, that's the play. You can see these tickets are the pick tickets, so that you get the exact card that you ordered. But we'll go through these pickups. I've got a lot to go through here. I don't want the video to get too long. It's been a lot of me rambling about what I'm buying and how I'm buying it. So we had a Justin Jefferson. This is a premier level base select rookie. I'll post the all-in price up next to me here as I go through this. I don't have a memory of everything I bought, but I'm buying these cards pretty cheap, and I'm looking over them, making sure that they're sharp on the front and the back, and then that the centering is at least, when I'm eyeing it up, looked pretty good. I'll have to check it out closer, obviously, to make sure. So we got a base Jefferson. Here we got an Anthony Davis. I think this was numbered to like 30 or something, if I remember right. And I bought this before the trade, so I don't know if this is going to affect it or not. I'm going to try to slice this ticket off here to see if I can peek at the serial number. Looks like the ticket goes in there, but I'm picking these cards up like real cheap, as you'll see when I post the figures here. I mean, these cards are pretty nice, and the nice part about COMC is you're going to get a variety of stuff. You're going to get put on cards you normally wouldn't look at anyways. A lot of these I wouldn't go looking for. I just happen to see them, and I'm like, boy, I'd like to win that. And sometimes you pull a crazy card down, and it's like, it's really fun. You go to pay for your auctions, you're like, I won that. This was one of them. Stardate, EX, Allen Iverson. I believe this was his rookie. I picked this off for real cheap. These don't particularly grade the best, but I'm buying these with a purpose. So when I buy it, I'm not buying it with the intent to gem. I'm looking at, like, what's the raw going for? What's the PSA 8 and 9 going for? What's the gem rate on that? So I'm putting a lot of thought into this. And, like, this card, you know, if I grade it at the right price point when there's a special like $16.99 or something, I'll make money on an 8. I'll make a lot of money on a 10. And that's really what we're trying for there. This is a Mikal Bridges, number to 10. It looks super clean. I'm pretty sure it would grade very well. He's probably my favorite Nick right now, him and Brunson. So this is more of just a card I just wanted to have. It was sitting out there. I got it at a good price. Justin Herbert. And this was, I believe, a elite draft picks, or the card was rookie, but it was a parallel, I'm pretty sure. I wish I could see more on this, but again, I'm picking these cards up for real good prices. And some of these you'll see, And when I share the price, you're going to be like, how in the world did you get that at that price? So here's a Fred Warner. I think this was numbered to 10. Leaf certified purple. He's a TO X-Fractor. Probably not the most desirable for TO collectors because he's in the Bengals uniform, but the card looks super clean. Should grade well. I was getting these cards for like $3, $3.50. We got a sorry, is that Bolden? Numbered to 10. It's a Donruss Classic, so not the most desirable parallel, but anytime you can get a guy that's basically a Hall of Famer, numbered to 10, you pick it up. So Pedro Martinez International Refractor. This card looks super clean. Just got to make sure there's no surface scratches, but did have some dark coloring in the back, but you can see not a lot of whitening at all. Looks like it's a really sharp card. So a lot of these, again, I'm hoping raw to grade on them. I'd be stunned if they all were gradable, but we got a Steph Curry Mosaic Parallel here. I love picking these up. These cards in like your GOAT type players or your generational type players, I like to get like colored Stephs, LeBrons, Mahomes, Brady, all those types of players. You can get those cards all the time for $2. You just got to be like patient. You got to look at a lot of them, but there's so many out there. You can pick those off, and because I have so little into them, I'll prep them, stage them, and then I wait for a special to when I can get in at the right price point. I don't want to be paying $20 a card to grade that, but if I get $15 and maybe SGC goes do an NBA special for $12 plus 2 all in on that, and you get a 10, that's worth being into that card for $14. Juju Watkins. I'm trying to buy anything I can get my hands on with Juju Watkins right now. Her cards are like red hot and they're super expensive. So these Goodwin Champions are kind of what I'm limited to. That and like the Bowman Chromes. She's kind of like probably the next sort of Caitlin Clark in that market. Her autos are like unreal. It's just tip of the cap to the people that are able to swim in those waters. It's a little too high of a risk point for me. Miguel Tejada, Leaf Limited Mirror Gold. This is numbered to 50. I got this card really cheap. It was maybe like under $2. Miguel Tejada was a really good player at his time, and he's got a little bit of a following, so that's a card where if I grade it, I'll probably have to sit on it a little bit. I don't anticipate he'll sell quickly, but I've been picking up a lot of low-end Bryce Youngs that look clean, same sort of thing. When I get the right grading special, I'll send him in. I think he's undervalued. He finished the year really well and may even bounce back, and we'll see. Juan Soto, got a refractor here. This one was numbered to 299. Stephen Curry, another example of what I was talking about. This is the pink ice. Not a particularly rare parallel, but it was really clean. This year Prism grades really well. You don't have a lot of dark corners that sneak up on you, so it's really about nailing the centering and the surface on those. Another thing, too, about the variety of COMC auctions and the different cards you get is that it teaches me about cards I normally wouldn't be involved with. So, like, some of these, like, Goodwin cards, I wouldn't see them in the wild typically and buy them, but I'll get to learn their grading tendencies just by being exposed to them this way. So here's Caleb Williams, rookie. This is a Black Diamond. It was serial numbered. He's another one I've been trying to buy some stuff of, and I'm trying to buy like lower end stuff that's a little different. So you'll kind of be able to tell that my approach is low risk for me, but I'm also offering a good price point for people that don't want to pay Prism Silver PSA 10 prices. There's a lot of people doing that, so I'm trying to get in an area that's a little more unique. Another Upper Deck Caleb Williams. This is like a pre-draft card, so you see he's not NFL licensed. He's not in his uniform, so this was a PC card for me. Just saw this Ernie Johnson floating out there. I picked it up for probably just a few dollars. Serial number to 25 there. I like a lot of the random pop culture stuff. When I see it, I'll pick up cards like that. No real intent to grade them or do anything. I just like to have them. Here's a Sidney Crosby I picked up. This looked really clean. I like to pick again, any card up that appears to be underpriced. Looks like there's a little whitening on this corner if you hit it right, so I'll have to look at that under magnification. Got a Patrick Waugh refractor. I couldn't believe I picked this card up for the price I did. I saw this floating out there. It looked really, really clean, and this is an old finest refractor. I just I don't know what else to say. It was unbelievably underpriced. I threw like a big bid on it, thinking like that was going to be one that was going to be a tougher one to take down. And for whatever reason, it was just one of those nights where like a lot of stuff did not go for the price I thought it would. It was just, I don't know if there was something on TV or what, but this falls in the same category. It's Mario Lemieux, same finest refractor, same set. This one has the coating. I'm going to really check it closely. A lot of these I like to remove the coating on just to get the good grade. I know there's a lot of people that like the coating on. But if I think I can get a 10 in that card, I would be like a monster. And I picked that one up really cheap. I think it was like $30 or something like that. So another Goodwin Champions, Juju Watkins. This is the Splash of Color. Another low-end card I'm looking to try to hopefully grade and sell to somebody here. We got the Patrick Waugh again. This is the Pinnacle Epics. The Epic Moments. This card, for how old it is, looked really clean. And these actually sell really well in all sports. Even football Epics sell really well. I got an Angel Reese, First Bowman, Pink Refractor. Angel always sells really well. These are kind of condition sensitive, but it looked pretty nice, other than like this corner here had a little whitening, so we'll have to check it. I got it at such a good price where if it won't grade, I can probably put it in my store raw and it would sell quickly. Call to Arms Pink, low end Aaron Rodgers. Probably picked this up for like $1. It's just, I'll put little bids out there, and if I can pull it down with the combined shipping, I'm happy to do it. So I got a few slabs here as well. And there's strategy with these, is, as I will explain. And to find where the seal is here. So we've got is a Kevin Garnett Fleer rookie in a mint-9 old CSG holder. So I believe that's why it went so low. I picked this up really cheap. CSG at that time had a reputation for grading really hard, so I'm going to look at it and see if I believe it could maybe get a 10. If it can't, I'll see if I can't try to get like an SGC 9.5. My intent is to cross it and add value. I'm going to look at it in the case first. If I see anything that's just not right, I believe I can still put it at a buy it now and make money based on the price point I got it. I just got it so cheap that either way I should be okay. The only way it would be bad is if I graded it, spent the $15 and got a 9 or less. Then I'd be out the grading fee and it wouldn't be good. Same sort of thing here. Topps football rookie for Tim Tebow. Got this really cheap. It's at a CSG 9.5. I'm going to see if I can't cross it to a 10. I'm going to double check that centering. It looks a little off, but should be within tolerance. If I can't, I could probably just relist that and make a few dollars and not go through the trouble, which I very well may do. We'll just have to see how everything else plays out. But a lot of times I'll buy the SGC, CSG, BGS slabs with the intent to cross if I can get the right type of play in the margin in there. Same with this Derrick Rose Upper Deck. It's a low end, but it's a Gem Mint old CSG label 9.5. Doesn't have the sub, so I don't really know what those grades were, but if I can try to cross this to a PSA 10, I'd make a little bit off of that. So I'm going to keep on moving. That, I believe, was the fullest box. So hopefully these others move substantially quicker than that first one. Yeah, this one seems a lot thinner. So that's the play, though. You can see there's definitely a mix of everything. I'm getting NBA, I'm getting football, getting basketball, men's and women's, getting some pop culture. You get a lot of everything with COMC. You don't really have to rely on save searches, and it allows you to kind of expand your horizons a little bit. This card I got it at such a good price. I'm just going to relist it. It's already in its final form. There is no crossing this over. It's an old label, so I don't even know if I tried to cross it, if I'd even get the same grade, but it was a 95 finest mystery refractor, Dan Marino. Picked this up, I think, for 36 bucks. And I know I could throw this out there for buy it now for probably 60 or 70, and it would move right away. So that's probably what I will do. It's a nice clean card, good example. It's just the centering is probably what knocked it down, but really, really good card. Hard to get in this grade. You don't see a lot of old refractors in really good shape. So that was one where I just saw it sitting out there, and I'll do that too. That's where, again, COMC gives you such a variety in their auctions. You can try to pick up slabs really cheap. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't. And that's okay. Whatever you miss out on, it's not a huge deal. Here's an example of a dollar card that was just sitting out there, threw a bid and took it down. It was Miss Elizabeth Ruby Wave. There's always going to be a Miss Liz fan out there. I love Miss Liz. So at $1, you can't go wrong. That would be something where, you know, maybe when I'm doing a bulk CSG submission or CGC submission, and I'm getting it at, you know, $10 a card or somewhere in that range, it makes sense to throw a slab on that one and see if I can't make a sale. So here we got a Juan Soto. This is a Topps Chrome Gold refractor, number to 50. It looked really clean and really centered. Gonna have to check the surface and make sure everything's good. There's only one corner to worry about, and it looked good on the listing. So happy to have that. We'll go through the other top-loaded card. Got a Kevin Durant. This is I think it was a Sterling refractor. To remember what it was, but this one was in pretty good shape, number to $9.99. Picked that up for, I don't recall, but I'll put the graphic up for you. Oh my goodness. And you can see COMC does a nice job packaging it. And another reason I like buying from them, they don't have any skin in the game other than their fees. So if a card goes for a price that, you know, the seller was less than the seller was hoping for, you don't get that BS where they go, oh, I lost the card, or oh, it was damaged during packaging and I got to refund you, or I just, you know, have to cancel the order for whatever reason. You don't get any of that nonsense. Like, they've already got it in their vault. When it sells, it's coming. And when they do their listings, if there's something wrong with it, if a slab is cracked, if there's surface scratches that are very egregious, they'll notate it. So I feel pretty confident buying from there. A lot of people think that COMC is like a graveyard for ungradable cards, and I have not experienced that at all. I get a lot of good cards from there. Austin Matthews, it's an OPG parallel here, non-numbered, but again, I like to pick up the top players in their sports and try to grade them. Here's a Caleb Williams, another Goodwin Champions pre-rookie card here. This one's numbered to $2.99. Another Crosby Upper Deck MVP Emerald. This is got the Emerald superscript on there, non-numbered. This is for a buddy of mine who's a big Devils fan. I saw this Kincaid auto rookie sitting out there, blockade as we call him. Saw that and I was like, if I can take this down for a few bucks, I'll pick that up for him. So I'll send that his way next time I see him. Here's a base Jordan. Pick this up for probably $1.50 or less. Looks super centered, super sharp. Hopefully gradable. Here's a 1/1 Curtis Joseph press proof. So, or pre-production proof. It's a very thin card. This is a PC card. As a Maple Leafs fan, I just saw an oddball cheap card hanging out there, and I thought, I'm going to take a stab at it, and if I take it down, great. If not, I missed out on a press pass, whatever it is. So that'll be something I'll throw on my PC there with some other Maple Leaf stuff. Here we have I believe it was a white prism Larry Fitzgerald, number to 49. This is the spotlight insert, so it's not the base, but really nice card. Looked really clean. Actually well centered for this year too. A lot of times the centering is really bad where the photo's off to the side, but we'll have to check that out and make sure everything adds up. There's another Devils card, but this one was not for my buddy. This is one of my all-time favorite hockey players, Jaromir Jagr, and it's a National Treasures. Picked this one up at a good price. I think it was like 10 or 11 bucks, but it's an old National Treasures. Happy to have that one. Another random card I saw floating around and figured it would probably sell well. This is the Royal Family or Royal Wedding top set, and sometimes I'll pick cards of like iconic people up out of there. So this was, I'm trying to remember who this was, if it was like Oprah or Serena Williams or who it was, but yeah, I had picked that card up for cheap, so check it out. And I like picking those sort of like oddballs up. You'd be surprised, like sometimes you whiff and they don't do well at all, and sometimes they do unreasonably well to where like you wish you had gone to that well a little more. Get some more packing peanuts here for to get some of this junk off the stage here as we wrap up. But I appreciate everyone, if you made it this far, listening to me rant and rave about what I pick up and why. I hope some of the information's been valuable so far and might be something that you'll implement into your searches and give it a shot. I have tried a lot of things and I try to stick to what works, and that's always been, this has been a method that has consistently worked and made money for me, and I enjoy it. It's something where every 3 days you just kind of check in, pay your fees, search your auctions, do it, rinse and repeat. And it doesn't take a crazy amount of time. Like when you see like these amount of cards, that you might be thinking that I'm putting copious amounts of time into this, and I put time in, but it's not a full-time job for me. It is something I do definitely on the side. I have a business that I'm partnered in during the day that takes much more of my time. Sorry about the heavy truck outside banging around. I don't know what he's doing. So here's an old SGC Ben Roethlisberger Chrome Prospects. I picked this up real cheap. I'm hoping that this would cross over even to a newer SGC slab. But he had the black borders, but there's not a lot of chipping. Can't even really see the whiteness even with the tucks here. So this card looked really clean. It was graded a 96 mint on their old scale. So we'll see how that works. Here's a card again I picked up really cheap, and it's in the CGC holder, and this I don't know if I want to dare cross it, but it's a Tim Duncan refractor, not his rookie, but just it's a clean card. I think I picked it up for like 20 some bucks, but in a PSA holder it's like 60 or 70. So part of me that is like, do I wreck a gem with the intent of making a new one? I probably will, just because worst case, if I tank, the 9 will probably make me break even, which is really a lot of the times what I'm trying to do is make it to where the 9 will make me a little bit of money or even, and the 10 is where you make your money. Some of these cards I'll even make money in 8s. That's why I like kind of doing what I do versus playing that ultra modern game where you need a 70% gem rate to make any money. So here we go again. This is a Mosaic center stage. I believe this was a Bo Nix. I really like this center stage insert. It's cool. It's like, I don't know. I picked that one up. This was definitely a PC card. This is a Black Pandora, I think it was. The Mosaic auto of Elijah Vera Tucker. It's a Jets fan. Saw this sitting out there. I'm like, I'll throw like a $10 bid on it. I think it went for like 6 or something. I mean, it was not much at all. We got a Kobe Skybox. This one looked really clean for what it was. Looks like it's right on the edge of the top loader there, so you'll be careful with that. But these cards have a lot of the bricking that takes place where the cards stick to each other and you have surface issues, but the corners and edges look really good on this one. I'm pretty hopeful that it would grade well. This is one that I'm looking where basically is the investment I have into it, plus the grading fee, it would cover me in like an 8. So if I look at this and it's just not good, I probably would just resell it raw. I got it at a good enough price where I'd be able to get my money back out of it. Kobe is a really tough one to snipe, by the way. My method of, saying, hey, you've got to bid on hundreds of items, you might win 20. I've bid on so many Kobe rookies and even done it in a price point that I feel is aggressive for me, and I miss out on him. I mean, he doesn't really go under comps, and he's just a tough one to get deals on. He really is. He's one that if you really want a rookie, you got to be super patient or just pay. So, same thing here. We got a Stadium Club Kobe. Looked really, really clean. Got a lot of dark photo. It's a full color photo all the way to the edges, so all chipping and whiteness shows, but this one looked really clean. I'm hoping that I can get 9 or better on that. Last couple packages here. I'll just open them all up and and see, here's like a card I would never go looking for. So Tremaine Edmonds auto, but it was serial numbered and cheap, and I'm like, I can make money if I pull that in. So it was Tremaine Edmonds auto. I want to say it was like under $10, but don't recall. Oh, this is another PC card. This is one I threw a good amount of money at because it's not cheap when it comes out, but it's Chino from the Deftones on-card auto. These cards are going for like 70 plus every time they're out, but this one looked really clean, and this was just like a nostalgia card for me. Saw the Deftones several times in my youth. Always a good show. It's one of those cards that when I got the opportunity, I had to make a move, and that was the time to kind of grab it, package it in, and get it for the best price I could. We got this D-Wade, I think. Can't read it, but Vince Carter, D-Wade. It's a Vince Carter refractor picked up here. Looked like it's in good condition, pretty well centered. The back centering is not ideal, but the rest of the card looked pretty good. We'll just have to see how the surface is. That's always the make or break on those. Here we've got it's an Aroldis Chapman. I don't know why that was so blurry. An Aroldis Chapman. This is a gold wave refractor. Picked it up for a few dollars. Aroldis, I don't know how well he really sells, but either way, I'll check it out. And if it's not a card I'm absolutely certain I can gem, I think I can just throw it out for a buy it now, and there'll be somebody that's either an Aroldis fan or somebody that's looking to build the gold refractor sets. There's a lot of those collectors out there. So here is a numbered Kamara. Here's another. It was a score green. I think it was numbered to like 5 or 15. It had like a really low. If I can find where it is, but it was a super clean card. I don't know why I can't see the serial number, but you all can probably see it, and I'm just blind as heck. But it was a fairly decent pickup. Oh, there it is. I saw it hit the light. It's over here. Yeah, it was numbered to 5, and didn't get a great deal on it, but I got an okay deal. This was, if I had a bad buy, it was this. It was an old Messi that was like a cutout card that looked like okay, like probably like a 5 or 6 grade. This is just me not being educated on soccer. I saw it sitting out there. I threw like $1 or $2 bid on there, and I'm like, if I win, great. If I don't, whatever. I think I won it for like $1.80, and I was like, oh, sweet. And I was just gonna pay for it through my COMC credits and relist it there, but there's like 30 of them on COMC, and about half of them were cheaper than what I paid for it. So I'm like, oh, I'm never gonna move this card here. So I'll see. I don't know if I can throw it in the eBay store for like $2 and see if someone picks it up. If not, it's not a huge loss. But here's another Aroldis Chapman gold refractor. Just another low price point on that. Pick that one up. This is a NASCAR pickup. It's a white prism Austin Dillon, and it was numbered to 5. I think it was like a stained glass white, or I don't know exactly what the parallel was. I'm not super familiar with NASCAR, but I was like, at that price, there's going to be some fan out there that wants it, and I'll be able to hopefully grade it or just flip it, make a few dollars. So we have a Fleer Ultra. This was a Andre Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay. I like to just pick up. He's probably maybe not like the best goaltender in the league, but he's definitely among that, and it certainly has the best resume. He's got a few cups in there. He's still pretty young. Good winning percentage. He really has a lot of stuff going for him, so the career trajectory is very good. So I like to pick up his low-numbered stuff here and there, and if it doesn't sell immediately, I'm okay just kind of having it around. It's something that at some point will be worth money. So Steven Stamkos, again, I like to pick up good players, and he's definitely decorated several Stanley Cups, among the active goal leaders. Good player. Wyatt Langford, X-Fractor here. Picked this up really cheap. It's a couple bucks. I was actually surprised it was that cheap, and maybe people believe he's not going to bounce back. I'm not sure, but low risk. The Trayvon Diggs Optic Hollow rookie. The card looked really centered and really clean, so a card like this you would only send in if you think you're going to get a 10, so I'm going to have to look at it and make sure like it's immaculate. Otherwise, it probably would either go right back to COMC or go into my store. Here we've got a Carlos Santana, and I believe this was like some sort of gold or bronze effect, but it's really low numbered to 25. And that's why I picked that one up. I thought maybe there'll be somebody that would be interested in that. I picked it up for just a few bucks. So Josh Allen. Now, Josh Allen to me is kind of like the Kobe of football cards for me. This is a blue press proof. It has a really nice color match. I thought it looked great. It was really clean. Josh Allen, when I talk about how I bid on the better players in each sport, I just never win his cards. People go nuts for him, and they pay a really good premium, and his stuff just doesn't fall through the cracks, at least in my experience. The stuff I see just doesn't. You can get sort of a good deal on him, but you just can't ever get a great deal. So I would say if you've got any Allens, make sure you know his worth and don't give him away, because somebody will always pay for him, in my experience. Ernie Johnson on-card auto, same as the other Ernie Johnson. I saw this floating around, and I'm like, dude, I got to have that. It's sweet. He's got the parallels in this same set where he does personal inscriptions. I'd love to pick one of those up. They go for substantially more. This was a card I picked up. I don't know if it grades well, I'll do something with it. If it doesn't, it might be something I have to sit on for a while. It's a serial numbered Oswalt. He definitely has a following and was a good player. It's numbered to 50. Just saw certain cards like that. You see those old serial numbered baseball cards, and some of them really go for a lot. So I like to just scoop them up when I get one in good condition. And a lot of times it pays off. Other times you're never gonna really go broke buying $2 cards. So I hope anyways. Here's one of those score treats. Jaden Daniels. So this is also not a licensed card, but it's definitely a nice Jaden Daniels rookie with the rookie logo on there, or the badge, if you will. Card looks super clean and centered, and in my experience, these score treats, they grade really well. I wouldn't just automatically send everyone in, but they're pretty well centered. The quality on them is pretty good. So those are kind of a nice option for people that can't get into the higher Jaden cards right now. Those are nice ones. You can get into them raw for a couple dollars. I would say $3 or less all in, so with eBay standard envelope. You don't even particularly have to be that patient. And it's not a bad looking card. It's not like he's in his college uniform or nothing. It's just a headshot. I think they're nice alternatives, and definitely for people that want a graded Jaden Daniels card, that's a good way to get stuff in your store for the people that don't want to shell out the big bucks. So here we got a Keith Van Horn. This is the Bowman's Best auto. They can't really see the auto really well, But there was a moment on COMC where someone must have been unloading a Van Horn collection, and I was trying to make some moves on some of the better stuff. Another very good player. I think he was an all-star a few times. Made a couple playoff runs with a few of his teams. You know, he was with the Nets, and I'm trying to think, maybe the Pistons, or I can't even remember where he was. He's moved around, but he's a pretty solid player, and I felt like he's one that's going to kind of fall in that line of the Drexler I was talking about, where you have to find the right buyer for him. But some of the cards I grabbed hopefully will grade well and appeal to somebody. So here we've got a score. This is just the gold Tom Brady. It's a franchise insert, and this one looks super clean. Usually gold parallels of anything sell pretty well, so that might be a cheap version for someone to get into a gold Tom Brady. Speaking of Van Horn, well, here's one of the teams he played for, the Knicks. I should have remembered that, but this is a Bowman Chrome gold refractor. Looked really clean, really centered. I have hopes that this one would grade well. Not a lot of whitening that I can see, so it's just going to come down to surface. And the last one is the last Van Horn gold refractor I was able to pull down. There's a lot that I could not that were belonging to more iconic sets in like 2003 and stuff like that, where some of the players like the LeBron and Wade rookies just pull those sets so high that you just can't touch them. But another one that looked pretty well centered. It's a little thicker on the left, but we'll have to, you know, measure it out here and see if it's within tolerance. I think even in a 9, this card would sell really well. It'll look really clean. It's been well taken care of. I don't see a lot of chipping. Overall, just a really good-looking card. So what I'm going to do here next is I'm going to take some time, hours, perhaps days, and go through all these cards, and I'm going to separate them into piles of basically what's gradable, what's not, like what's basically something I'm just going to have to resell raw. And then I would say like maybe more of like something I want to act on right away. Maybe some of the cards that I have more money into, like the Vince refractor or the Duncan refractor, maybe these gold refractors, some of the cards that I have $10, $15 into that I want to get a bulk order and get to PSA sooner than later to try to recover some money. That's typically how I divide stuff out, as more of like what's a more urgent pile than what's I can sit on these for the right time, but I will grade them sort of pile, and then everything else. So you can see basically like what percentage of these I deemed as gradable, as urgent gradable, and then as just resell raw. And also try to share that with somebody that may be just starting out, or maybe they're just a little bit behind me in their process, and I can share just a couple little nuggets here and there that might help you kind of cut the line a little bit and save you some money. So hopefully a lot of this little insight to the COMC auctions, maybe even the Michael Jordan lots, was valuable. Something that some of you can add to your processes, or even get you out of that analysis paralysis of like you're watching content and you want to jump in, you're just not sure where you want to start. These are 2 really good options for you to get your toes wet and see kind of how it goes and feel your way through it without getting exposed or burned too bad and dealing with potentially bad sellers. Like I was saying, COMC doesn't really have any bias to these cards, so you're pretty much going to get what you pay for, and you're going to get non-biased service, which I really like. That's why I like buying from consigners. And we're back. So it's a day and a half for me and just a few seconds for you guys. But so here are the results of the mail day here. I'm going to break it into 2 sections, the Jordan lots and then everything else that came from COMC. All right, so we're going to start off with the Jordans. So here there's 83 total in the 3 lots. There was one that was bad. This one was like really bad, like egregious bad. Like if you can see that crease there, oh my goodness. So I just saw that going through and was like, nope. The rest of these were actually in pretty good condition. There wasn't really a lot that had really bad dings or creases or dents or anything. They were one of those, 2 of the 3 lots came from the same seller, and they had those old kind of tinted yellow top loaders with like the older Ultra Pro sleeves that are a little more rigid. And those are kind of unsightly to look at first, but those are the lots that I like. If I ever see a collection that somebody's selling, or a lot on eBay of older cards, and I see those yellow top loaders, I know they've been like well kept in them for a long time. And that's a lot of times you can get a sneaky good buy. You can get some gems out of those, and that's actually what happened here. There was 17 Jordans here in this stack that I deemed gradable. They're all super low end, no inserts or anything like that. But I'll put where I intend to send them, and then I take notes as I go, and I enter them in the spreadsheet, so I know exactly what I'm seeing. That's a game changer for me. Something I would recommend is, like, while you're grading, to take notes. If you want to, like, input it in the spreadsheet, like, one by one as you go. I like taking notes, and I also write, if you see, like, it says SGC, like, that's where I want to send it, or what my intent is. As I've talked about earlier in the video, you want to have a plan for your cards. Where do you see them going, and how it's going to make you make the most sense or make the most money for you. I think that's really important. So we had 17 out of 83 gradable on the Jordans. That's way better than I thought. I was hoping for like 5. So we should get a lot of 9, 5s, and 10s once those are submitted. They're certainly not urgent. Those are going to be ones that I'm going to tuck away. I have very little money tied up in them, other than probably more in supplies really than I do in the cards. So we're going to put those aside and wait for the right special. Maybe SGC or PSA will have an NBA special, or a 90 special or something like that, and I'll sneak them in there at a good price point, so it really can make some nice margins on them low end cards. I don't treat those with urgency. I definitely wouldn't be paying the standard grading fees of whatever. I think it's like $24.99 or something. I definitely would not pay that on those types of cards. They barely sell for that, and if you get a 9, obviously you'd be losing money. So on to the COMC cards. We had 68 total cards in there. We had one, it's already in its final form, so that's just a NA. I wouldn't really count that against the stats, so to speak. That's just going to get relisted. We had 5 that were for the PC. You can see I have these prepped, and these are going to CGC. Again, I wouldn't count those against the gradable, non-gradable. Those were ones I was going to do something with anyway, which leaves us with a couple of stacks. So we've got over here 27 that are not gradable, and I put notes on those as well, so when I get back to them, I know if I want to sell them raw, I will let somebody know basically what I found, to be as transparent as I can. Like this Oswald had a little whiting and chipping on the rear corners. My notes are kind of hard to read, but a lot of times I'll abbreviate stuff. Like right here would be top to bottom centering, left to right, so you can see that the Brady just was not within tolerance, especially on those low end cards. Like, you may see that and say, well, that looks like it could be 55, 45. I'd give it a shot. On the low end cards, like if it's not dead on, I don't even play around with it. It's not worth the chance of getting an 8 or a 9 on a $1.50 card and wasting the grading fee. And this is where I truly believe that I make or break profits. And it's really where, if I had just taken these and sent them all, my stats are pretty good. Once we get to the graded ones, you'll see that my numbers of gradable versus non were pretty good, actually. It's a lot better percentage than I was hoping. That's a good thing. That means I'm scouting the cards out. I bought them all at a good price. I don't have to try to unload a bunch of raw cards that are much harder to sell, a little less liquid at times than the gradable cards. But where I say I'm making the most money is if I had pushed these 30 some odd cards through the system, or I guess I should back up the truck there. Yeah, it's 27. So if I had pushed these 27 cards here through the system and just graded them without really looking very closely, I'm going to get a lot of bad grades. I mean, these are cards that, remember, a lot of them I was buying where I'd break even in a 9 or profit substantially in a 10. Maybe even better. Like the Kobe's, I would make money in 8s probably still. If you're going to continue to spend somewhere in the $15 to $20 range on every single one of these cards, that's going to put you almost $500 to grade this stack, especially with you factor in shipping. The likelihood of getting 500 plus the cost of that it took you to acquire and back out is pretty, it's a pretty big gamble. So when I turn these sort of cards away, I'm looking at it like I worked a few hours over the course of 2 nights and made $500 or saved $500. I can sell and list these right away. I don't have to wait to recover a lot of the money that's tied up in them now to go out and seek new inventory. But now that leaves the good stuff. So here I have the 2 stacks of grading cards that I'll be sending to grading at some point. Total gradable cards was 35. So there were 68 total cards from COMC. 35 were gradable. And it's actually a lot better percentage if you factor in the 5 from IPC and the 1 here don't count. So essentially 35 out of, let's see what's there, 6 of there. It'd be 35 out of 62 cards were gradable, which is really nice. That's a percentage higher than I'd hoped. And I have 2 stacks that make it a little more distinct, where I have these 14 are which ones I would call urgent, and then these remaining 21 are ones that I can send them in really whenever I want. I don't have a lot of money tied up in them, and I really don't want to pay like peak grading fees, so I may wait for specials on those. And those are ones I'll just put aside, and they're prepped and ready for grading. So like when a special comes, I'll be able to grab them off the shelf and go. I have the pre-grades in here. I don't have to look at them and try to remember, was this good? Was it bad? Does it make sense? Like I only do the work one time. So these Post-its, I would really, really recommend it if you go through your cards and do this sort of stuff. Or when you're doing your setup, make sure your tablet, your computer, your whatever there, your spreadsheets there, and put your detailed grader notes in so that you know exactly what to expect. I know a lot of times in my earlier submissions, and this is a good tip if you're just getting into grading, I would look at cards and I would inspect them. I'd be like, this is pretty good. You know, it's definitely cleaner than other ones, and I could find some flaws. I would be sitting here thinking in a weird cumulative sort of way where I'm like realizing there's some small flaws here and there, but I think it's good enough where I'm like, yeah, this is probably an 8 or maybe even a 9. So I like, you have this kind of stepladder way of thinking where you in your heart know it's an 8. You're hoping it could get a 9, but there's that like gambler in all of us, or that person that's like, but like I gotta have a chip in a chair mentality. Like I could get a 10 if it's there, right? If they have it, that gives me at least a chance, even if it's a low chance. And I promise you're gonna lose that gamble so many more times than you win. You might get a freak 10 here and there that completely shocks you, but usually it's the other way around. You're gonna get a card you're expecting a 8 or 9 on, you get a 6, and there's something you missed. And that's generally the case. So that would be my best advice when you're grading cards, is treat it like you're grading, really. Sometimes it's really hard. Like you get a great buy on a card, it comes in, you want it so bad to go to PSA or SGC or whoever you may use. You want that to go so bad, and you gotta just don't get caught up in the FOMO. Just let it go, sell it raw or keep it how it is. I mean, if it's a PC card, do what you want, slab it, do whatever you want. But if you're looking to make some money, really think about those sort of things. Do you want to tie your investment up for, in some cases, 2 months to get it back and be ultimately disappointed, or get what you probably knew you were gonna get and just rolled the dice? If you can catch it in your office or your living room with somewhat basic tools we can all get off of Amazon, and then they have like a professional setup, they're definitely not going to miss what you're finding most of the time. This is the breakdown. I'll put some stats up on the screen, or will have at this point as I was talking, to give you some visuals of what we're looking at. But overall, I was very pleased with the mail day. Yeah, that's the video. So we'll get some of these listed, we'll get some of them stationed off to the side, and get ready for a grading prep video. Some SGC cards that I also have prepped outside of this video that I'll be combining with this to try to make another submission for them, and then PSA as well. So got a lot of things coming down the pipeline. Again, I appreciate you sticking around and listening to the banter. I hope there's been some helpful dialogue and tips in here for anybody, regardless of your level of experience. Card grading and buying and that sort of thing is something I really enjoy. You can see it's a detailed work. It's fun to me. So that's really all I got. I appreciate it. Again, anything you can do to help the channel is very much appreciated. I hope you all have a great day, and until next time, we'll see you.